All right, Chris Bacon's coming on. Everyone, silencio. Chris.
Hey, I'm 3 degrees from Bacon.
All right. Everyone's gonna get removed. They don't show up. Chris, how you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good. So you are neighbors with Eric July, huh?
I am.
So
I'm doing well, thanks, guys.
I'm gonna add a little headline so people know. Eric July's neighbor. So has Eric been running around the neighborhood talking about the tractors coming to get him?
No, he has not been running around the neighborhood.
So what's up, Chris? What you said you wanted to talk about Eric and
yeah, guys, I thought it was interesting. I've known Eric for a few years now. I'll say this: we're not friends, but we're friendly. I've met him a number of times. I've been a supporter of his before his Rippaverse situation. I'll just, in full disclosure, when he was doing more of like his political commentary and stuff like that, I was one of, if not the top donors that he had. So I've supported him financially. Wow. I've supported, his work. I own all the copies of this ISOM book. I can get into some of that a little bit later as far as my thoughts on the matter, but I did that more out of support. Based on my kind of professional and educational background, I took it upon myself to kind of do a deep dive, particularly into his last campaign, and looked at it, compare it to his first campaign. I'm going to do the same thing with this one as well. I've got on his Reddit Rippaverse page, I've made a number of posts about my business analysis. It's easy enough to find if you look for it. And that's about it. I'll certainly say this. I, respect people's views, whether it's, you guys or some of the other videos of people I've seen. I don't follow these other folks, but I do find the material entertaining. The guy who went to ISOM Knox's grave, I was like, okay. But it's entertaining, and I don't think too much of it. Within 20 seconds in a Google search, you can find exactly where that grave is. I don't see any real harm in that. The person didn't deface it. Some of the things that you guys have talked about in your previous videos and, such as what you're talking about on the stream, it sounds like you're not fans of his work, certainly. And that's certainly everybody's right and opinion. I don't have any, issues with that. But I thought I would just give you guys kind of again, so as somebody who's met him, as somebody who is, been a supporter, just give you guys a very, objective, take on, Eric as a person, and just a very objective take on, ISOM and just kind of how I see it as a person who has looked at this very objectively. And again, if you look at my Reddit post that I've made about this, it's very objective. There is nothing about it that is fanboyish in any way, shape, or form. It's very objective. And one of my, after about number 4 or 5 of my things, I wrote an open letter to him and his team. I was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I didn't get very good responses from them about what I was putting together and some of my observations. So I just stopped.
From the Reddit or from his team?
What's that?
From the Reddit responses?
No. From his team, and I'll say this, like, he has his memberships and he has those members only streams, and I was in one of those streams commenting about this, and like, it was everything I was saying. And again, this is a person who knows me, who knows that I know him, that we've met and corresponded, and I was just getting completely ignored. So I said, okay, well, if that's the case, I'll just stop. I'm not going to put any more effort into this or any more time or, give any more takes. As far as my professional background, I'm more than qualified to give the takes that I've given. The data speaks for itself, and it's all based on his data, the data that he posts on his website on a daily basis. It's certainly not hard to find. But just to kind of backtrack to give you guys an understanding of, how I met Eric. When he was doing more political commentary, I met him through basically saying that his take on anarcho-capitalism was basically like a nirvana, like a utopia type look and feel to it. And I don't agree with him politically, pretty much on anything. I'm certainly not a liberal. I'm more conservative leaning, but I certainly don't share his political, views. So I called in and had a conversation with him about that. And it was amicable. Walked away from it with, good feelings, I guess you could say. And after that, again, I continue to, support his stream and what he was doing. And when I found out, and he found out that we live very close to each other, we, met up at the local gun range that's not too far from where we lived. And
he pulled up.
Yeah. And, I do know where he lives. I certainly would not divulge that, but I certainly know where he lives. I've been to his home and spoken with him there. So, we have like I said, a friendly relationship. We're certainly not friends. We're not close in any way, shape, or form. It's very casual.
You told him to turn down the music?
I'm sorry?
You told him to turn down his music?
I don't understand.
Is Eric partying a lot? He was making.
Oh, I don't live that close to him. So,
you're not like next door neighbors like that.
Oh no, I don't.
Your neighborhood, kind of.
No. The neighborhood I live in is very suburban. I mean, it is the definition of suburban hell in every way, shape, or form. It's a very family oriented community. It's not a bunch of bachelors and stuff like that hanging out. It's not a young crowd by any stretch. So, so that's kind of how I met him and my take on him. As far as him as a person,
I gotta ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said you went to a gun range with him. Was he any good?
Both of us were not very good. No.
So I don't have to worry if he's trying to air me out. Is what I'm saying. He'll just miss anyways. So it'll be okay.
Is it true that he can lift 300 pounds with those skinny, hairy arms?
Okay, I'll say this, guys. I will keep it very high level. Eric July is not a tall person. He is not a big person by any stretch. I'm 6'1". He's maybe 5'8". And if he weighs 180 pounds, I'd be shocked. But yeah, I mean, like all in all, I mean, I don't mind him as a person. I like him just fine. I had, nothing but nice things to say about my personal interactions with him. I don't believe that the person that he portrays himself on stream is inaccurate, but in person, he's certainly much different than what he is on stream. He's not as loud. He's not as in your face. He's much more conversational. He's much more toned down. So, and I think that's probably could be said for most people who have online personalities, yes, so to say. So, again, I have nothing bad to say about him as, Eric July, the person. I have no issues with him whatsoever. I'll give you, kind of my honest take on ISOM, and I've got the first books. I mean, I put in there, I gave the first one like a 6.5 out of 10. It's certainly not going to win a Pulitzer. The second one is certainly not going to win a Pulitzer. I find the artwork to be inconsistent. I don't find it to be that good, to be quite honest. Graphically, storytelling wise or whatnot. But at the end of the day, I understand a couple of things, and I think it's important. The people who may or may not describe themselves as haters or critics or whatever. One thing I will say about this is his fan base is incredibly loyal. I mean, he has got a ride or die fan base, which I think anybody in any business would be happy to have. I've got pretty in-depth breakdowns of it as far as like ISOM 1 compared to ISOM 2. And I heard you guys talking about the numbers earlier, and I'll give you a very specific breakdown. when he released ISOM 2, at the end, as of 7 p.m. on that day, he had 3,877 people who purchased. As he's updated it, or the site has updated, and just a little bit ago, he's up to 4,878. So he's outpacing the total purchasers of the second campaign and the first campaign. The first campaign was down a little over 900 compared to the first one as far as total purchasers. So this one is by far, well, probably by the end of the day, certainly his biggest jump off to this point. But I'll say this, and I put this in kind of my reviews and analysis of his business, is his first 4 days of each campaign is kind of like a movie. And particularly the first week, where you're going to get most of your revenue through the first bit. And that was true in the first campaign. It was the same in the second campaign. Like, I'll give you an example. On the 7th day of the campaign of ISOM 2, he was at basically 1.45 million. And that's at the end of day 7. By the end of day 21, it had only gone up to 1.672 million. So he hits a wall in these campaigns fairly quickly. The same thing can be said about ISOM 1, where he got off to a really fast start. By the end of day 4, he had 18,276. By the end of day 8, it was 28,567. And the total for the campaign on campaign 1 was 42,926. Whereas on the second one, he was down 50% as far as purchasers. His final total was 20,337. So I looked at this in like a very objective way to see what was going on with this, just from a business standpoint. Obviously, if you guys followed it in any way, shape, or form, 1 and 2, the launches were kind of tire fires as far as how the website was working and whatnot. And this one, he did a lot better. He throttled the site, it looked like, and people didn't get kicked. But one thing I noticed that was interesting in this particular one was what I'm going to call his conversion rate. If you happen to go in there earlier in the day, it queued you and you could see a number. It was like, depending on when you were there in the day, it was like so many people are in front of you or whatever, but it gave you a total. And it's not there anymore because it looks like he stopped throttling the site. But I saw it when it got as high as about 12,000. So I'm assuming there's been a lot of people who've gone through his site to look at it, but his conversion rate is very low, all things considered. It's about 30% based on what I saw from those numbers and the total purchasers at the time. So there's that aspect of it. Because of the fact the website wasn't throttled, I can't really say whether it was this is just doing so much better, or because of the issues the site was having within the first 48 hours, or is this going to be consistent? Probably by the end of day 4, it's going to be very apparent.
Yeah. What do you think the total purchasers are going to end up being? Because, like you said, the first campaign had double, right?
I think it's right now over 500,000.
No, I'm talking about the purchasers. Because the first campaign had 42,000 people.
You can check it. You can check it. Rippaverse.com. Go to campaigns.
I am there. I'm telling you. This is not me guessing. The first campaign had like 42,000. The second one had 20,000. I'm wondering what the third one is going to have. Because, again, even though the second one dropped 50% in purchasers, it wasn't a drop in 50% income, right? You still with us, Chris? Did we lose him?
I think we lost Chris. Can we talk shit about him now?
The awkward silence.
Eric July went to his house.
Yeah, he said too much
research.
He's getting his talking points from Eric.
Stop.
I don't know. Did he accidentally mute himself?
I don't think Eric sniped him.
He's not.
We were told he had bad aim.
Hey, I'm 2 degrees from bacon right now.
July pulled up. I don't know. Someone check Eric's stream. Is he like?
I come to you on the night of my campaign.
Well, I don't know.
Oh. SMS me for a long time.
Do we know where we can find Chris Bacon's Reddit post?
Yeah,
that he was referring to.
I'll get it right now. It's just one of those, like, he was talking, he's just gone.
Everyone was keenly listening in until he vanished.
Yeah, I hope we didn't get him killed or anything.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad. Like, what's going on?
Chris Bacon goes to Crispy Bacon.
Chris, come back to us.
The one good takeaway is Eric July isn't the person he pretends to be online. That's the big takeaway.
Also, Riley, you got nothing to worry about because apparently Eric July is fucking terrible at shooting. So, just serpentine, Riley. You'll be okay.
$5 from Control Delete.
So let's have some fun with this. There was a prediction that he would do over $3 million with this campaign.
So real quick, hold on, Warm.